Good evening, sir. Okay, so just before I start, this is a big fangirl moment for me. I literally have notes on my phone because I know I will blank out. I cannot believe I'm on stage having a conversation with Mr. Sriram Panchu. The young mediator in me is screaming right now. But I'm going to use this time wisely to ask all the questions that you may have, but definitely the questions that I have. So let's start. I think a quick note for the intro is that it's 49 years, not 46.
49.
49, okay. So my first question, I have some questions that I'll ask you and then I have a rapid fire round in the end. So Mr. Sriram Panchu, how did you get into mediation?
Good question. I think I had finished 15 years at the bar and I had a growing dissatisfaction in that I was doing my best. I was winning cases, not all, but I was winning a fair amount. The legal system was working, things were happening, but the lives of my clients were not improving. Whether they won or they lost, their lives were not improving. And I could hardly come across a case where I could say people actually benefited from the litigated process. I'm passionate about the law. I love the law as an institution. And this used to cause me a lot of pain, that the institution of which I'm a member, in which I believe, works the way it does, but doesn't produce the results for human beings in a good way. In 91, I went to the Salzburg seminar. For those of you who have not heard about it, please familiarize yourselves. It's an annual gathering held in Salzburg, Mozart's birthplace, where they have 10 to 15 different seminars a year on subjects ranging from law, literature, politics, cybercrime, environment, all over. And it's 2-week seminar where they have 30, 35 people across the world with a few experts. It is always a path-breaking experience. And the one I went for was harmonizing environment and development conflict. Wow. And it's there that I picked up the idea of mediation for the very first time. Wow. And for me it was a eureka moment, that here is a way in which you can actually get people who are in conflict to sit across the table and find solutions. So I came back and then, worked on it, tried it in a whole host of different areas. Like somebody else said, I was also thought that, why is he going into meditation? But one persisted. Like Lord Rama, I think I also spent 14 years in exile before India's first court center came about in 2005. It was a long trek, but I think it was worth the journey. Does that answer your question?
It definitely answers my question. Were you always a very good mediator, right from the beginning?
That's a tough one. Can I have water which is not cold? Just plain water, yeah. I think I enjoyed mediation right from the beginning.
Okay.
I think I took to it from the beginning, and I think I enjoyed the opportunity, the ability of listening to people, of understanding them, of displaying a certain empathy. I think you need to have that empathy. Yeah. I think they must feel that, yes, this mediator wants to do something good. Yes? And in all that, to apply your clinical mind to see where are the solutions to this. So I think it's a combination of a humanistic process and, a sharp scientific mind which says, where are the solutions to this? Because we need that at the end of the day. Just good listening is not enough.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. So, I know all of you are very familiar with Sir's work, right? He's been appointed by the Supreme Court of India to mediate significant public disputes. These include the disputes between the state of Assam and Nagaland. We had the dispute within the Parsi community in Bombay over a ban on priests. In 2019, he was appointed on the 3-member panel to mediate the Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid dispute. Heavy duty mediations. The question that I have here is, you've done so many mediations. I've just named 3 of the bigger ones that we know, right? But is there one case that stands out in your mind?
Actually, there is. And it's none of the ones you mentioned.
Oh.
We had just set up the mediation center in Chennai in 2005. Justice Sabharwal had come to inaugurate it. We were India's first court annexed mediation center. With great difficulty, I fought for 2 rooms to be allotted to us. And the judges committee said, this is just Sriram's newfangled idea. It's not going to work. Give him those 2 rooms. In 6 months, we'll get it back. So I got those 2 rooms, and we set up a mediation center. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4 cases referred, and nothing happened. And I was starting to wonder, And came the 5th case, and this was a contractor who would build a house, and there was a dispute between him and the owner, and that was went to arbitration, got referred to mediation. It settled in 3 sittings. The contractor's wife used to come with him. The minute they signed the agreement, she tapped me on my elbow and she said, "Can I talk to you aside?" And she took me aside and she said, "Sir, my husband has cancer. We desperately need this money for his treatment. We couldn't afford to mention this during the mediation because it gives the other side an advantage. But now that the agreement is signed and the check is given, I want to tell you this, and that we are very grateful for this effort." So I said, "Thank you and all the very best. I hope things work out." When she left that room, that lady turned back. She was a simple person. She stopped at the threshold. She turned back, and I will never forget that moment. She turned back, looked at me, and she said, "Sir, this is not any ordinary room. It is a house of God."
Oh.
And believe me, at that moment, I had what they call a moment of certitude. I knew that this mediation is going to work in India. I had that moment of certitude, and nothing could shake me after that. So I will never forget that case.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I literally got goosebumps when you said that. That is so beautiful. That really is the power of mediation. And no one would have thought that would be a story you say, especially when there are such headline-grabbing cases that you're doing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. We need some tips and tricks now. We need some advice. So let's begin there. How can we improve the court mediation system?
Okay. Let's first understand that we've done a lot through the court system. Okay. I think we operate the world's largest mediation system, court annexed mediation system, right? We've done a lot to embed the idea of mediation into the minds of litigants and the litigant public and the public at large, and that wouldn't have been possible but for the courts and judges. Because Indians do need to be told by judges that yes, this is an acceptable method of resolution. So I think that's a fantastic thing that judges have done. And we've set up these systems, we've trained mediators, we refer cases at different levels. So a lot has happened.
True.
Equally, there are problems with it. We have problems of quality. And sometimes we have problems of efficiency. But what I want to focus on is 3 or 4 things which I think, if done, will radically improve the court system. Point number 1, allow people to come in who have finished their law course. The rules currently say you have to wait for 10 years or 15 years to be a mediator. Not on. Nobody is going to sustain their interest for such a long time. Allow people, somebody can come and practice law in court after getting a law degree. There is no reason why they cannot come in as a co-mediator or an associate mediator. So get them in, allow them to come in at that age, number 1. Number 2, pay them well. We somehow have this feeling that if you're a court mediator, you'll be given an honorarium, or you're supposed to do it pro bono or something near pro bono. Bad thinking. We should pay mediators well, because how else will they think of making it a career or a subsidiary career? We should pay them well. We do not need to rely on government for resources, and there's a very simple way in which we raise funds. In 2006, I settled a matter. It was called the Standard Motors case. It was a big thing at that time. It was about 50 crores in 2006. It got settled, and the day after the settlement, these consortium of banks, 6 bankers, walked into our mediation center and said, "How much do we have to pay?" I said, we don't charge. They said, "What do you mean you don't charge? We've got 30 crores from the settlement. You can't tell us that we shouldn't pay." I said, "Well, we need a water cooler." So they laughed at me, and the next day they came with a water cooler and a check for 30 lakhs. Oh. And the reason I'm saying this is that in successful cases where the stakes are large, I think we should make the parties pay for mediation, because they're getting a service. Any other part of the court system, you have to pay. You pay a court fee. You pay a court fee for a court fee to this for your litigation. And when you get a benefited mediation, all that we have to do is to say, "Look, you've benefited so much. How much are you willing to donate for the system to run?" That's it. That's point number 3. Point number 4. Every judge thinks that the backlog is a burden. For the mediator, the backlog is a treasure trove.
Yeah.
There is no place in the world where you have cases waiting to be mediated like we have in India. It's a treasure trove. And all we have to do is to dip into that. So point 1, 2, 3, 4, I think, are fairly doable solutions to make the court system tick.
Thank you. And I think for all the young mediators, aspiring mediators in the room, I can see so many nods. We really, really hope and pray that that is something that is more inclusive.
Yeah, but in the new Mediation Act, we have made it clear that the age limit is only 21.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And somebody who's worked very, very closely with us on the act is sitting here, Avneet. I think you should stand up and take a bow, because you're so much part of it.
Thank you. Before I get on to another serious question, what's your favorite color?
Well, I'm not wearing it, but it's blue.
Okay. Okay. So, you've been in the mediation space for way, way longer than me. And I have some sort of a perception on what the mediation space looks like. But from your vantage point, what do you feel, what's the mediation landscape in India right now?
All right. For me, primarily, the mediation landscape was a landscape in which the court and the court annex system figured very prominently. Understand that that's where we came from.
Yeah.
We tried out private mediation for some time, didn't work very much. And then we figured that you have to drive it through the courts for it to really gain ground. So a lot of time and energy went into spreading that through the court system in different high courts and different trainings and doing mediations, etc. So for me, that was primarily the landscape, with the awareness that, look, that cannot be the entire landscape. Other things have to grow. And the awareness that private mediation has to take root. Okay? And I'll come to private mediation when it comes to business and government, etc. But the knowledge that we just cannot run it through the court system. You must have private mediation. There is no need for somebody to go to a court in order to access a mediator, right? So we must build private mediation so that it stands on its own feet, professional, capable, competent mediators whom people go to, not because they're going through a court, because they're saying, well, I need a good mediator, I can find a good mediator, etc., right? Now, let me now give you a moment of congratulations. I'm so very pleased to see the work that Sama is doing, because what you have done is to take it and run it as, a private initiative. You've gone the non-court route. You've run it as a private initiative. You've marked up significant successes. You have 52 cases done. You're working with 75 banks. You've got the SEBI portal. You've got 3,000 neutrals with you. So that's a very, very significant private initiative. And I think that is the second part of the landscape. That's the second part of the landscape, which is private initiatives running efficiently, covering mass base, and doing a damn good job. Okay? So that's crucial. These two are crucial. You need the court system on the one hand, and you need private initiative on the other. And I think you're a sparkling example of how that private initiative should work. I know there are others also in the field, and every time I see, and the one thing that gladdens me, I must tell Justice Chawla this, initiatives like theirs, like what Sama is doing, what Pre-Solve in Bombay is doing, other people are doing, are all done by young people. I think we need to give them a hand of applause. So it's coming, it's happening. I see change coming faster than I thought it would. You cannot imagine what it means. I'm somebody in my 70s. I'm 73. To have the blessing of working on a concept and having it come true in your lifetime and being part of, that effort and that realization is a blessing. But it's a double and a triple blessing to see youngsters coming and then take off, in their own brilliant ways. With that, you actually cannot understand both the sense of satisfaction, the contentment, and the hope that it gives me.
I will literally cry right now. Pinch me. Okay. I'm really overwhelmed. I'm so happy to hear that's what you see the mediation landscape as. I'm pleasantly surprised to say it's faster than you thought it would be. But you walked so that we could run. So a big thank you right back at you for even allowing us. Thanks for kicking open all those doors and breaking all those ceilings so that we could waltz into few of them and then start from there. Okay, how many lawyers, aspiring lawyers in the room? Mediators? Hands up. Lots. Okay. So, how receptive are lawyers to mediation? I'm going to find out now.
I think a lot of lawyers are receptive to mediation. Some because they believe in it as a concept and are minded that way. Some because a client may say, look, why aren't we trying mediation? And the judge may say, why aren't you trying mediation? So they may come to mediation for different reasons. But let me also be a little frank about something. I think there is a problem, not so much in the smaller stakes cases. I think that, and I'm being frank, I have friends in law firms, and I think there is a problem when the stakes are very large. Because when the stakes are very large, what's a lawyer looking at? This is a case which will run through multiple interim rounds, then appeals, final hearing, appeals from that, on from that, a good 5, 10, 15-year litigation. Okay. This mediator is going to settle this in 6 sessions. Right? It is something in the lawyer's mind. And let's be frank about it. It's absolutely human to think that. We don't expect people to be sacrificial examples. There is a way to tackle this, and I think what we need to do is to revisit the Contract Act on the issue of champerty. We forbid conditional fee arrangements because they foment litigation. That is the idea of saying you cannot have a conditional fee arrangement. But if you flip it and you have a conditional fee arrangement in a mediation, then you're not really violating the rule of champerty because you're not fomenting litigation, you're ending litigation. So I think the idea of a mediation settlement fee to be paid to the lawyer is perfectly rational, makes a lot of sense, doesn't violate the rule of champerty, and brings everybody on board. If you're in a mediation, I want everybody on board in the mediation. I want the full cooperation of the lawyer. I don't want a lawyer thinking, I'm going to lose this, I'm going to lose this fee, I'm going to lose this. I want everybody on board. And I frankly, sometimes in a big mediation, I take the 2 CEOs aside and I say, look here, have you incentivized your lawyer to settle? And they ask me, what do you mean? And I say, look, if your case goes to trial, your lawyer's going to, this is going to be his kind of fee. And then they, yes, we understand, sir, what you mean, no problem. And they work out a mediation settlement fee with counsel, and everybody is perfectly happy. The client's happy, the lawyer's happy, the system works, and we haven't offended any rule of champerty because we are actually having something as an inducement to end litigation. So I think we need to be smart about these things. Yeah, if there is a problem, we need to be a mediators. If there is a problem, then what's the solution to it? Yeah. But we need to, also get grounded on some of these things. And we need to have somehow these slightly hard conversations and some uncomfortable realities. But we can find the way. But by and large, I think in most cases that I've handled, lawyers have been proactive, cooperative, and I remember one case. I've been fighting for 15 years, and we were coming to a settlement. There's some tax issue that we worked out, and I told the two lawyers, I said, you two sit in this corner and work out this issue. And after some time, they started smiling at me. So I said, what are you fellows smiling about? They said, sir, we have been fighting against each other at this point for 15 years. Now you have asked us to sit down together and find a solution on this. But they do. Actually, it is a joy to see lawyers working together in a mediation. Once you cross that initial stage, and to get them in this act of finding solutions and working on them together, it's a joy. It actually brings out the best in a lawyer.
Yeah.
It brings out the best in a lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a humane side to every lawyer, wanting to help people, wanting to make things better.
Yeah.
It brings out that side. We're not all, just fighters and terrible fellows like they show in all these movies. There's a good side to us.
Thank you. Okay, we've come to the last segment. So, sir, with your permission, I want one-line answers. One word, one line. But may I ask some personal questions? Yes or yes?
I'm 73, ask away.
Okay, music or dance?
What? I know nothing about dance.
What's your favorite song?
Well, I think there's one song which lots of people will know. There's an old one called Phoolon Ke Rang Se. Yeah?
Am I the only one who doesn't know that song?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll listen to it. Sorry. Okay, do you have a pet?
Yes. I have a dog.
Name, please.
Inji. Inji is Tamil for ginger.
Inji. Okay, please give our love to Inji when you go back.
We'll do it.
And the last question. How many girlfriends does Mr. Panchu have?
Could you repeat that?
How many girlfriends has Mr. Panchu had? Have had.
On that, I'll take the Fifth Amendment.
With that, thank you. That was Mr. Sriram Panchu.